Welcome to another episode of Difflock Affordable Off-Roading. Today we are taking our Jeep Cherokee. We're conquering the highest of mountains, the steepest of slopes. That right there is Sugarloaf Mountain. Some call it the Everest of the West. Some call it a 14er. I call it nearly 1,000 feet of elevation gain.
In this episode, there will be loose pebbles, pointy twigs, and blades of grass.
Okay, so Everest of the West may be just a little bit of an exaggeration. Sugarloaf Mountain is more of a, well, it's a rounded off hill, but it's perfect for today because we are going over all the basics of off-roading in part one of a 3-part series where we get you guys into off-road fun. Where the heck do you want to go? Where do I want to go? I'm not even sure myself. I just know I need to climb that massive mountain. So we are right about here. There you go, Sugarloaf. There's Boulder Falls. And you can see our mountain. It's right about there. That is a harrowing drive of nearly 1.5 miles. I mean, 1,500 miles. Nope. No, that's 1.5 miles. But at least we know where we want to go. But you have to choose the perfect trail to begin with as well. And as much as we all want to go out and do King of Hammers for our first time, those serious bouldering and rock crawling, you're not going to have a lot of fun out there. You're just going to end up breaking stuff and making a fool out of yourself. Come to an easy trail. Right now, this is just a dirt road, but it's going to get a lot harder. And the first thing you have to ask yourself is, what kind of off-roading do I want to do? There's just so many different types. Desert running, rallying, rock crawling, trail running. In this first episode, we're going over the very basics of trail driving, a type of off-roading a lot of you guys are going to end up doing. This is mine. It's a $3,300 Jeep Cherokee, and the most important part of that isn't the Jeep or the Cherokee, it's the $3,300. My view on it is you want to start out with something more affordable, so if you break it, if you bash it, you're not too worried about it. There are a couple of things I do look for in an off-road vehicle, however, regardless of whether or not it's a Jeep or a Toyota or a Ford or a Chevy or a Blazer or whatever you can imagine. First thing I like to see is obviously 4-wheel drive. It sounds self-explanatory, but 2-wheel drive is only going to get you so far, and when you end up getting stuck in 2-wheel drive, it's much harder to get out of certain situations. So 4-wheel drive is a must. I also love to see a low range. It gives you the torque and the control necessary to get you up and over some of the more difficult obstacles. Now the next thing I look for a beginner, which is controversial, is an automatic transmission. This is true with the hardest of core off-roaders. Automatics are just easier off-road. It takes another step out of the equation when you're going up over hills and valleys and gullies. But the most important thing you need to find is a tape player. That is crucial when you're going off-roading. So why don't we stick in this 1982 Colorado college mixtape that my dad made back in the 80s and hit the trails. You're probably looking at this trail and thinking, wow, my Prius can do that with front-wheel drive and bald tires. Yeah, okay, that may be true, but, you know, you don't want to push it too hard on your first time out. You want to get to know the vehicle, understand what it's capable of. Push yourself a little bit in areas that are safe to do so, but don't go out and experience something that's way above your ability level on your first day out here, on your second day out here. And this has always been my thing, right? Who cares how difficult the terrain is? As long as you're out here having fun, you're learning. I'm constantly learning. I'm by no means an off-road expert. I'm not claiming to be. I just really enjoy hitting the trails in Jeeps and Toyotas and Fords and Chevys and whatever it is, it doesn't matter as long as you're out here having fun. Here comes our first major climb to the top of this mountain, and the first thing I'm gonna do is engage 4-wheel drive. Now, I am a big proponent of using four-wheel drive well before you think you need it, because a lot of the times you'll be going up something in two-wheel drive, you think you're fine, all of a sudden your back tires break loose, you start slipping, sliding around, and you can even put yourself in a situation where you can't get out of in four-wheel drive because you didn't engage it early enough. So stick it in four-wheel drive low, puts a lot less strain on the engine going up these steeper hills, a lot less strain on the transmission. Use that old proverb, as slow as possible, as fast as necessary. And I do mean as slow as possible. There's no reason to go that quick of some of this stuff. Just want to take it nice and easy. Okay, so this right here is our first taste of real rocks on this summit adventure. And you can see that on the right side, there are no big scary rocks. On the left side, there is one. The best way to avoid getting damaged on these big rocks is to just go around them. And you're probably thinking, yeah, whatever, big. You have to understand your vehicle, understand its capabilities and the lowest points before you start tackling these off-road trails. Next up is thumb placement. With these older vehicles and even newer vehicles, if you hit a rock wrong, that steering wheel can swing out of your hands, and if your thumbs or fingers are inside of the rim, these spokes can do some pretty serious damage. Our friend Nick Kappa over at FCA calls them digit removers. So be sure you keep your thumbs and fingers on the edge of the steering wheel rim to prevent any issues. That guy in the Razor brings up a good point. Whenever you're off-road, the person going uphill has the right-of-way, so it's the person going downhill's responsibility to move out of the way of the person coming on up. When you're out navigating the more difficult obstacles, you always want to make sure you're driving over the highest point with your tire, not letting a sharp rock slice the underside of the vehicle, for example. However, whenever possible, just avoid the roughest lines through the terrain. And our number one tip of the day is always bring a buddy when you go off-road.
Hi guys.
At least if you can. Not only is having a friend here more fun, but in case the old clunker or even new clunker decides to crap out, right? He can save you, or she can rescue you, or you can just go play in the mud together.
Yeah, next time we're going to the mud, and we might need help there.
Yeah, we probably will. It also helps if you have a buddy with the winch and max tracks and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. It helps.
The Cherokee soldiered on higher up the mountain until eventually we crested the peak. You'll be amazed what a stock vehicle is capable of, regardless of its brand. It really comes down to tires in a lot of ways off-road. We don't have a special off-road tire on this Jeep, but we can still go most places. Hey guys, check it out, we made it to the top of a mountain. Okay, actually not the Sugarloaf Mountain. Sugarloaf Mountain is that one over there. I don't know how we miscalculated it by like half a mile, but we're here at the top of a mountain, which is good enough for today. This is a 3-part series on Difflock. We're gonna go into the mud next time. We haven't even talked about wheel placement or line selection. This is just the very basics. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to stay tuned for Difflock next week here on the Fastlane Car. We'll see you next time. Goldmine Hill in the 91 Jeep Cherokee XJ. I put the old girl into 4-wheel drive low, which means I've got a ton of torque to crawl me up this hill. Proper 4-wheel drive system in these Jeep Cherokees. Now this is actually one of the earlier crossovers if you think about it. Unibody construction.